Now it's time to have a look at the next module, hazards identification matrix. What does it look like? First of all, it's a classic 5x5 hazards identification matrix. Why is it called so? Because it has 5 columns and 5 lines. What is hazard? Hazard is a severity level multiplied by a likelihood level. These two notions in total give a hazard. Hazards are classically divided into green area hazards, that is low hazards, yellow area hazards, that are medium hazards, and red area hazards. If we dig deep into the theory, then any words connected with hazards in the red area are banned. It means some measures must be taken to lower the level of hazards up to yellow or green level. So measures are taken for this very purpose, to lower hazards up to acceptable level. What likelihood levels can we have? Here any customer can have their own formulations and settings. We have a classic matrix, but deviations can take place. We have likelihoods of 5 types. Very unlikely, unlikely, maybe or possible, likely, or probably, and very likely. And here are definitions. They are quite subjective. That's why for these levels we need some specific definitions. They are given here. What is very unlikely, unlikely, etc. How can we define them? By frequency, likelihood, and frequency of occurrence at the site. If we say that the event is very unlikely, it is when this situation hasn't occurred in the company for the last 5 years. Let's say this situation hasn't occurred in our company for the last 3 years. I just want to show how easily you can change the settings. And now you see here 3 years. We can change the data for any which we need. So here we set our definitions. For example, here what is very unlikely for the company from the point of view of frequency. We can set here never occurred for the last 3 years. Here never occurred for 1 year. Here, occurred once, for likely occurred last week, and for very unlikely occurs every week or practically every day. So we make settings here and every customer can choose their own definitions. Now, likelihood of an undesirable event. Settings here are also quite subjective, but here we need to set likelihood from the point of view of percentage. For example, for very unlikely, we have less than 1%. For unlikely, some other percentage from 1 to 10, etc. And frequency of occurrence at the site. Here we can set that very unlikely means that it occurs less than once a year. So we looked at likelihood and how we fill in this matrix. Every customer fills it in taking into consideration specific characteristics of their project. Now let's get to severity level. Severity level can be catastrophic, major or essential, moderate or significant, minor, negligible or negligibly small. And you can see that negligible and very unlikely give us 1 point here. It means the level of the hazard, which grows as the severity level grows through the event, is still very unlikely to occur. It grows from 1 to 16 points exponentially. So the severity level can also be defined here. We have 5 types and consequences, which are divided into consequences for people, for environment, and for assets. It is quite logical that we can damage people's health, nature, or some customers' equipment when we work at their site. And we can also define what are catastrophic consequences for their personnel. It can be multiple fatalities or life-threatening illnesses. I believe that here we can specify what multiple fatalities mean for us. For example, more than one person. And we can save the changes. You see the changes here. Pay attention how easily I can set hazards identification metrics. It is a static tool which will further be applied for dynamic tools.